Another Be Live podcast about faith, culture, and politics. And today I think we have a very in-depth topic, if you will. I wouldn't say it's controversial. It's good, right? And so many of you are talking about it. My husband and I are talking about it. Devin and Angela, we're all been talking about it, and it's very concerning. House Bill 5855, Protect Illinois Communities Act. And in this bill, as many may know, the Illinois lawmakers want to ban our guns. And there's a hearing scheduled concerning this gun control package bill. And so today we're just going to have a brief conversation about this to share some things that most may already know, kind of share our heart and where we stand, more importantly, on the Second Amendment. And so basically, the synopsis of this bill will be that if it passed, and unfortunately we do believe it has the potential of passing, will ban us from purchasing or possessing many commonly used firearms to protect ourselves and our families from criminals. And again, it definitely violates our Second Amendment. And so what we want to have a discussion today, and feel free to join the conversation. And I've been reading up on this, and everybody's basically asking the same question in terms of the different groups, the different organizations, some political leaders, some people that own gun stores and gun ranges. Everybody want to know why the proponents of this bill failed to explain to us how disarming law-abiding citizens will keep us safe from criminals that don't obey the law. So that's kind of the topic that we want to kind of have a conversation around. Like, we know crime is happening, and it's not going to stop, if you will. We know we can curb crime, of course, but taking away our guns, law-abiding citizens, doesn't quite seem to be the answer. So I'm going to let Devin kind of kick this thing off. You know, most know that Devin is former military, so I know he has a lot of background and knowledge on guns, if you will, the safety of guns, and just what the Second Amendment is all about, including my husband. And I thank God that my husband is joining us tonight as well, because this brother's definitely Mr. Second Amendment. And so I'm grateful for that as well. And so, I'm going to let Devin kick this off. And we do have Sister Angela with us, too, because we support the Second Amendment. We support our rights to bear arms. So, Devin, take it away.
To me, any type of gun legislation is racist, and it's sexist, and it's every ist that you could think of, because I would go so far as to say, even people who are proponents of like LGBTQ plus rights and whatever the narrative that all these different marginalized groups of people, right, are under violent attack from the state, from their neighbors, black people getting beaten, gay people getting beaten, everybody just getting beat up, in this country. And so if that's the case, why would you disarm people? Why would you say that it's just so violent out here? It's so terrible. There's so many people that are hating on other people, but you have no right to defend yourself. Just call 911 and wait on us. But by the way, when you call 911, you might get a cop that's having a bad day and he might shoot and kill you. So that's the narrative that we have, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Why would we put it's just illogical. It doesn't. If we just go from the worldly narrative, everybody's under attack. Latasha and Angela, you as black women, Ronald, me and you as black men, just everybody is just being attacked left and right. Plus, we have all this gang violence and homophobia, sexism, misogyny, blah, 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 blah. Now, just prance around the city like unarmed. Good luck. Call 911, but don't call 911 because we told you that they would probably kill you. So,
and also,
what are we? Yeah.
And also, this new January bill kind of like relaxes the reach of the police as far as when you would need them. Like, you know, the details of this new the bill that people
Safety
done.
The
teachers.
Safety Act. The
Yeah.
Safety Act. Yeah.
Right. And we know in every freedom that we get, in every freedom that we have, when people want to do bad, they find a way to undermine and to, I'm gonna say, to find a way to take advantage of our freedoms and use it for themselves to commit what they want to commit. And that's what I find that they will not. I find it very wrong and dictatorial that y'all will not detail what you really need to be dealing with if it's to keep us safe from crime and people who want to do other people harm. When the majority of the people you make these laws against is people who pass all this criteria that it take to own guns in various amounts, even across the state.
Yeah, it just does just the whole idea. So this bill is somebody's brainchild. Latasha, I know you got the notes for who the representative is that thought of this stuff, but it's
Yeah.
on the backs of Highland Park, right? So the Highland Park shooter who already shouldn't have had weapons. The law already prevented him from getting them, but then there was a loophole. So instead of closing the loophole, here we are. Nobody can own a magazine that has more than 10 rounds. The
Mhm.
problem with that is I don't know any gangbanger. I don't know any member of the cartel. I don't know any pimp. I don't know any nefarious person. No Jeffrey Dahmers, no John Wayne Gacy's, none of those people. They are not going to go, oh God, they passed a law. I can only have 10 round magazines. Okay, when I do this mass shooting, I'm going to just make sure it's just 10 rounds so that I stay within the confounds of the law. Of course not.
No.
It's
Exactly.
just us that's going to be left out here with 9 rounds. Meanwhile, all these criminals, literally criminal illegal aliens, they got drums, they got, they out here like Rambo, and we just gonna sit around with 9, 10 rounds, maybe if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can reload, in enough time to save somebody. Are the
Yeah.
police gonna walk around with 10 rounds? Because if they're not gonna walk around with 10 rounds, I'm not gonna walk around with 10 rounds.
Right. And you know, Devin, you know where I work in the barbershop.
Yes.
I know it gotta be about at least, man, 10 to 13 different people that been killed from gun violence around that shop. Now,
You talking about that with your
in that
client's base?
neighborhood, yeah, that was coming to our shop.
Okay.
Now, the police is around there a lot.
Mhm.
When these shootings happen, I remember twice. I remember it was this jerk chicken spot right there. Right when I got in the door, I heard some shots. With no police around. Recently went to the taco spot, heard some shots. With no police around.
And
They
they
are
always sitting right there on 71st. I mean, come on. They
right.
always on 71st Street.
Right.
Yes.
So see what happens with regulations, you regulating us, but then the people who does this kind of stuff is completely under the radar, unregulated. You can't regulate them. You can't find them. You don't know what they have. And plus, when they do the things that they do, you can't police when they think to do it.
Well, no, Ronald. They're going to go, oh my gosh, guys, did you hear about that new law? So we can't terrorize 71st Street with as many rounds as we were before. We can only use 10
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then reload. That's what they're going to say. That
Yeah.
I just feel it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not going to
agree.
name any games, but I could just feel that the cartel, when they get done trafficking children and adults and drugs and fentanyl, they're going to go, oh my God, Illinois just passed a law. When we cross across Illinois, don't send any AR or AK style weapons up there. Just use what's in the confines of the law. And when you murder people, make sure it's a legal murder.
Well, Devin, I just saw some feeds through my YouTube recently, yesterday, and about the Fast and Furious and the AK-47s and the assault rifles I seen in some of them pictures ain't seem to be 10 rounds to me that the government sold to them and gave to them. And it was said that one of those guns was one of the guns that killed one of them border people. I mean,
so we get 10 rounds, but you sell to criminals. You sell automatic weapons. You sell military hardware. You sell all that stuff. But I don't know. You know what? The government would be right to disarm people, because the way that we are mistreated by our government, they should be terrified.
Yeah,
they should be absolutely terrified. And I'm not saying that people are going. Don't misconstrue anything that I'm saying to give license to killing government leaders or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But the fact is that the Second Amendment was put in there because we should have a healthy distrust of our government, because we are supposed to be able to protect ourselves from all enemies, foreign or domestic. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
And it says for the security of a free state. How can you secure a free state? And they're using the assault rifle. You don't need an AR to hunt. It ain't for hunt. It doesn't say anything about hunt.
Yep.
It doesn't say for the security.
And we need to stop. We need to stop pretending. We need to stop pretending like it's for hunting. No, I want an AR, an AK. I want whatever weapon I get. Yes.
I want my freedom.
Yep. And I want to hang it right there on the wall, so that if somebody tries to kick down this door, I just rack it and you're done.
Yes.
Now, if that's not acceptable, I don't care, because you're not the person that's going to be there when somebody's trying to rob my house or carjack me. None of these people passing the laws or all these and again, my heart does go out for people who have been victims of senseless gun violence.
Yes,
but the only way to stop those people is for another person to stop them. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop as long as we're disarmed and we just so nice and kind. We're not going to love them into not murdering people, because they're murderers. That's what they do.
Yes. And Bay, you say all the time, when it comes to the police, you can't police a thought.
Yeah, you don't know when they're gonna try it. So normally, what I'm hearing, I heard a situation recently. Somebody was getting carjacked, and it was more than one of them. The person shot one. They got shot, but thankfully, all the rest of them got scared. But the person that was defending themselves fled from the scene too. So it's no guarantee that if they all had 10 shots and they come 3 to 4 of them to you, you got 10 to that 30 to 40 different bullets that's coming from 4 to 3 different ways.
Yeah.
So and you're not there to defend like that. You cannot police like that. Your policing depends on a call for the majority of your ability to police.
So, I'm starting to think, we're critical thinking people who still have the ability to think rationally. So when I look at this disarming of everyday citizens is not about keeping us safe. I mean, it's something bigger going on here, because if you really look at history, when governments were becoming tyrannical, I mean, what's the first thing they do when they're getting ready? They disarm their citizens. So I think we just really have to get to the root of what this is really about, because it doesn't make sense. So there's something bigger going on, and history can teach us what that really is.
Yeah, it's the clinch more power. It's simply what the Second Amendment said.
Yeah.
If you lose your arms, you don't have a free state.
That's it.
That's it.
No arms, no free state. You have
Yep.
a prison state, a
Yeah.
police state,
A slave state.
a slave
Yeah.
state.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
so
so
how,
And
yeah.
just since I know people don't like, when I bring up that we all black, right? But
Mm.
unfortunately for them, that we're all black on this call. So just historically,
Mm-hmm.
why would we ever sign on to any government saying we're going to disarm you for your own good? No, that's how Jim
no,
Crow was brought in. You know how
Yeah.
many lynchings were literally stopped because people had a shotgun at their house and they were a good shot and they knew
Mm.
Mr. Johnson, he could shoot now. Don't go over there messing with Mr. Johnson and his boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my thing is no, I'm not, and the reason I bring that up is because we have to look historically. It has happened in our own country when we
Yeah.
disarm people, the
Recently.
Native Americans.
Recent.
We disarmed the Native Americans, and look at where they at now, all hopped up on reservations. We
Mm-hmm.
disarmed black people so that we could lynch them. And I'm saying we
Exactly.
because that's the United States government.
Yeah.
That are the state governments when they implement things that take away rights, they then always implement something tyrannical.
Mhm.
Tyranny has had a home here in the United States of America. I know that doesn't
Absolutely.
sit well with people's
Yes.
exceptionalism of America, and I think this is an exceptional country, but that doesn't change the fact that when humans get together and pass laws, sometimes they strip people of their rights and dehumanize them.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
the
yeah,
you
best way
just
to not be dehumanized is when you cannot be stripped of your rights. And that takes a defense mechanism.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and also they are manipulating the trauma of those people that have had loved ones shot up.
Yes.
Yep.
yes, they are.
People who,
They're
Yes, they
using that.
are.
Yeah.
They're
and they
using that.
did it. Yeah, they did it and using it
Mhm.
as something for us to say, oh, maybe we do need to give up our stuff.
But
But
that's not
see,
thinking rationally. That's thinking
it,
irrationally. That's
it's
that's
not.
not.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not.
not.
It doesn't make sense.
But that blood will be nothing in comparison when you look at history as
Yeah.
far as the countries and those that you go back in the past where you got the dictators that stripped their citizens to being that made sure they citizens had no way of defending themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The
Hmm.
amount of blood that was shed in them countries
Yeah.
because they was defenseless.
Yes.
Right. So we know Hitler was one of them, right?
Yeah, I was about to say Germany, and then we
Yeah.
got modern
Yeah.
day with Australia, how they
Yep.
strip those people from, and then it's happening in Canada. And so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just believe overall the
That's a
American
And
citizens
Mexico, and Mexico.
In
Yeah.
Mexico,
yeah.
You
look,
can't.
that is an even worse crime of murder.
Mhm.
That's genocide at levels upon levels. That's even a
Yes.
worse way to commit mechanized murder, worse than somebody that decides upon his own self to take a weapon and kill up some people. You can prosecute him, but then when you got a government that stripped
Mm.
people
Yes.
to being able to, that requires the spilling of thousands.
Yes.
That requires armed force.
Yes.
That requires a war.
Yes.
That's far more blood than just somebody running random to
Mhm.
kill some people up in the grocery store because he felt like he could do it and he felt like he didn't get his way at a job or something.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a different thing.
So you guys, the irony of all of this is that while they're trying to disarm us, everyday citizens, like Biden is sending small arms to Ukraine to
Yep.
give out to their citizens to help
Yes.
them fight
Right.
back. So
Yes.
look at the
Yes.
irony of it.
Yes.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is
And
it all about?
And add to it.
let's take Ukraine. Let's just go to Ukraine. If those citizens had weapons comparable to what we have, Russia might have thought twice about actually invading that country. You know what kept
Yeah.
Japan, part of what kept Japan from invading the United States was that they knew if they made it past the United States military, they still had the citizens who were going to shoot. It was going to be the wild, wild west right there on
Oh
the West
yeah.
Coast.
Yeah.
Yes.
and vice
And
versa.
that was before gun control. So
Yeah.
now we think of San Francisco, LA, San Diego,
Mhm.
San Bernardino as these leftist cities, and they're disarmed and gun-free
Yeah.
zones. They were not gun-free zones back in the
Yeah.
40s and the 30s.
Yeah.
Chicago was not a gun-free zone. First
Yeah.
of all, the St. Valentine's Massacre, which Al Capone and his gang, they were doing all type of stuff. But
Yeah.
individual citizens had weapons in Chicago. There
Yeah.
was a time where
Yeah.
people actually protected themselves because we
Mhm.
know there's no police officer standing in front of my house right now.
No.
So if I can't protect myself by the time, okay, let's just say I get shot, how am I call 911?
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
How am I going to call 911 when I'm being chased down the street?
Yeah.
I can't. I have to defend myself.
Or being carjacked or being
Mhm.
robbed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't do that. And that's just if they allow me to keep my phone. But I do know that if I have the ability to shoot back and I have some skill, shoot back, stab back, whatever the case may be, something, right? But there's so many regulations. We don't have no stand your ground. See, people think stand your ground is racist. It's not.
And when I was young, a couple times I had a gun pulled on me before. I know how it feels
Mm.
to be under the
I have
gun
too.
of another man, and you
Yep.
have no idea that he's gonna take it to the next level in using the gun. I know how it feels, and I said in myself, I said I would never be caught like this again.
Mm.
Yep.
I was in my teens. I said you will never catch me like this again, where I think I'm about to fight back then,
Mm-hmm.
and this person produce a gun out of his hood and say, "What you said?"
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know how that feel. It don't feel good. The police was nowhere around.
Yeah.
I was at his mercy. I had to stop talking after he said what he said.
Wow.
So would have I done seen that where somebody have a gun and the person keep talking. Well, I ain't finna give him. I wasn't about to give him a reason. Help him shoot me because I see him with a gun.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But it's no guarantee someone is going to let you live when they get you under their gun. And people putting people under the gun for anything.
Yes. Road rage.
Cars,
Anything.
road rage. They might think you got $200 that they want.
Shoes, clothes. I mean, the
Mhm.
pervasiveness of criminality is,
You may have to take public transportation, and your pants look too clean or something. I don't know.
But guess what? You can't take a weapon on. You cannot conceal carry on Chicago public transportation. You can't get on no Pace bus. You can't get on the Metro train. You cannot get on CTA. Not the green, the blue, the red, the orange. None of them. Don't get on the 79th Street bus, the 63rd Street bus, the Halsted bus. You cannot get on those methods of transportation and protect yourself. But somebody can haul off and push you on the track. So you just hopefully you don't hit the third rail and you can call the police, I guess. Hopefully ain't no train coming by. Or somebody could just rob you right there on the platform. Hopefully you will make it.
yeah.
It's insane. People talk
Insanity.
about these different neighborhoods. I just don't even go into Inglewood. Yeah, but it's some people who have to live there. So they should not be able to protect themselves. And the narrative, well, why do you need that to protect yourself? Because maybe I'm better on that than I am on a pistol. A pistol is hard to shoot. I don't know why people think it's just the greatest weapon in the world. A rifle, you
It's
actually
easy.
have better aim.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And if that's what I want to protect my property and my family and my country, then there's a Second Amendment that allows me to do it. What
To
you
do
could
so.
put your energy into is actually investigating crimes. You could put your energy into closing the border so that we can end the senseless flow of uh, of black market guns and drugs and people. You can
Yeah.
do that. That's the government's job. They're
Yeah.
supposed to close the border. They're supposed to deport all these criminal, illegal aliens. They're supposed to patrol the streets in such a way that citizens are not stripped of their rights, but people who want to criminalize and terrorize communities don't have the ability to do that. And then where my property line starts, or my sphere of influence around myself and my vehicle and my family, where that starts, I'll take it from there. That's
And
what's supposed to happen.
and
Yes.
Devin, also too, this kind of stuff. This stuff is coming from a party and a man and politicians, all of them together in the same boats that support this. I pin on them that $5 billion worth of military, all sorts of hardware they left in overseas.
Yes.
Now we was over there fighting them people, but you made sure you armed them to the teeth before you left.
And China is right there. China is literally
Right there.
right there and can just come in and get all the schematics of our, because it ain't like, we left all of one class of airplanes, right? Like we're never going to use these airplanes again, so let's just leave them over here. You left things that we still have other copies of here in the United States, so that the Taliban and the war chiefs over there, that's what they're called, war chiefs. Why? Because they have weapons of war. You left all that stuff over there, and then we supposed to sit over here with 10-round magazines and pistols while they got they got taxpayer paid for American manufactured ARs and M16s and M4s, but on the street it'd be an AR or an AK or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you left that for them. You let go of a man who was selling artillery and all kind of stuff, and you making sure you arm Ukraine to defend themselves. All of it is against what you say you stand for in this country against your own citizens, while you strengthen the hands of our enemies.
Come on.
Yes.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That's it.
They're setting us up for some kind of invasion.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like
China,
ducks trying to use Molotov cocktails to defend ourselves, and we won't have no weapons.
Yeah.
I heard something on the phone when I was listening on my phone, that even the guy in China, the president in China, the leader in China, said that it's a problem that people in America got private ownership of weapons.
I heard his commentary on that. I did hear that. Yep. Well, of course it is, because this is the last frontier. Like, how can we invade that group of people? How can we subjugate them? Because see, here's the problem. So even if they manage to one world government everything, or whatever the narrative is, right? When you come here, we still are going to do what we want, because there's a level of confidence that people have when they're able to defend themselves. We might follow the law up to a point, and then after a certain point, it's just like, man, I ain't about to follow that. Y'all gonna have to kill me.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And you got your dignity that somebody won't. I put it this way: that somebody that you can stop someone potentially. And even if you may not fully succeed, you have that dignity.
Yes.
That you can stop somebody from standing over you like he God to take your life or leave you with your life. And that's a terrible feeling.
Yes.
To be subject to another man that has that decision in his hand. And those people that's talking all this safety stuff, nowhere around when people are subject to that kind of stuff. But yet they let them and study people who have been in these, and I'm gonna say something about mass shootings, and study the people that have been through these mass shootings, talk about how, man, I wish I had a gun. Don't tell me you ain't had that thought when you survived that and you was under all that shooting. Don't tell me you ain't had that thought that you wish you could have defended yourself.
Or
you
those
see what I'm
around
saying?
you.
With a gun or somebody around you.
Yes.
That you had to wait all the minutes on for the police, and about time they come around, 30 of y'all on the ground bleeding to death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, that's unacceptable to me.
Yes.
Mhm.
So this
But
is
yeah.
an in-depth, very, very noteworthy conversation that we're having, and I just want to briefly take a minute because we this is a live conversation, so we do have people chiming in on this conversation, and I'm looking at the comments, so I do want to.
But before you do that,
okay.
I wanted to mention I had another train of thought before I leave to add to what I was saying. They praises people where there were gunmen shooting and somebody jumped in front of the door or jumped in front of the gunman. They died. They praised them for putting their body in front of the gun and taking them bullets and they dead. But they wouldn't praise you if you there with a gun to stop somebody from doing a mass shooting, which have happened.
Yes.
They didn't praise the guy in that time that happened in Indiana. But I remember them praising a little student that put himself in front of the gun. I remember them praising somebody, I think it was on a bus or a train or something, put themselves in front of a gun and got killed for somebody trying to shoot people up, but they got in the way of the shooting.
Which don't make no sense because the guy probably still continued to shoot other people. So you just, now that's just the first person to die. And that just amps them up even more to continue shooting because that's what they needed, was somebody to die.
Yeah. So this whole bill, and further than that, this whole ideology, this tyrannical ideology to disarm citizens. And as Andrew said, we all said, we know that this is a very, very devious thing that they're trying to do. That the whole thing with Illinois is just the surface of it. It's not even the tentacle of what's actually going on. And so we do have somebody chimed in a few minutes back and asked a question: will the Safety T Act protect this House Bill 5855 violations?
Well, so when you look at it, judges will now have full discretion to whether somebody stay in or get out. And under this new law, again, it's going to be the same group of people. And the judge is just going to decide whether they should. See, the Safety Act neuters it. It neuters it. So this is it makes things a crime, right? Until the person is found guilty, nothing happens to them. It's not like they can go, well, you had a magazine that held 17 rounds, and so you fall under, like, you're going to be subjugated to this law. But again, the judge will decide whether you are out free during the trial or you're locked up. So the only people who are probably going to come under this law are already law-abiding citizens who don't need a restriction on the amount of rounds that they have, because law-abiding citizens don't shoot and kill people. They just don't.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Not without a just cause, right? They're not just walking up and saying, let me fill this 30-round magazine up and I'm going to just let the bullets fly where they may. That person was going to do it regardless. When you look at China, which is disarmed, you know what they have over there? They have mass stabbing events where people just go around stabbing 30 people at a time. Okay, so what? Do you say knives can't have edges on them now? We can only walk around with butter knives? Well, I can still stab somebody with a butter knife.
Yeah. Exactly. And we have to get to the root of the issue, and that goes back to what you were saying about the person who's in the mass shooting. You know, why don't they think to themselves, I wish I would have had a gun? But instead they think, oh, we got to get rid of all the guns. But they're not thinking, you know, why didn't they prevent the loophole for a crazy maniac to get a gun? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? But we can't, because of mainstream media has so brainwashed us, we can't even think rationally in terms of the root of the problem is the people, not the guns.
Guns. Come on. That's it. That's it. Absolutely.
But why? Why can't we do that? Is the problem?
Because we know, as we know, there's a hidden agenda. Well, it's not even hidden anymore. There's another agenda, and it's a genocide agenda. It's what it is. It's what we keep saying, that we know they want to disarm us so that we can no longer protect the free state.
And basically, the Second Amendment is basically saying it's your responsibility to protect and defend yourself and defend your government. It's not solely and first the government's responsibility to protect and defend you. Yeah. They can't do it.
No.
They are very
the government's job is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. That's why when and the government being these elected people that we elect, that's why they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Why? Because the Constitution of the United States and the state constitutions allow us the liberty. I'm gonna go past freedom. The liberty to protect ourselves first and foremost, and to educate ourselves, and so on and so forth. So all these things that we have allowed the government to strip us of, the right to protect and defend our children from outside influence, the right to protect our children from indoctrination and strange teachings, the right to educate your child. The Second Amendment undergirds that. The right, freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech without a Second Amendment.
Yes.
You don't have freedom of religion without a Second Amendment. You have freedom from search and seizure, because, illegal search and seizure, partially because the government shouldn't just be able to arbitrarily come in and decide what type of weapon you defend yourself with. Yeah. They just shouldn't.
So basically what we're saying, Devin, and you brought up a very good point right there in terms of freedom of speech. Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. So Amendment 1 protects, again, the freedom of speech and press and our religious liberties and freedoms, like you just named, homeschooling, just everything that we as a people in this country deem as our right to exercise. And then Amendment 2 protects those things.
That's the teeth to it.
Exactly. And so we're seeing where those two amendments are at work to be, they want to virtually eradicate them. I'm reading a lot of the questions, and they're good because we have this live so people can join in on the conversation. And so, Mark, I thank you for your question in reference to the Safety T Act. And also he's asking as well, rumors has it that Japan didn't attack the homeland because they knew American citizens were armed. Absolutely.
Yes. Yep. I mentioned that earlier. Yes. That's why they did not attack yep. Absolutely. That's why we never had an invasion.
That's it. So thank you, Mark, again. And Julie is saying that, in Florida, when the hurricane came, Ian, and wreaked havoc, the governor warned the thieves of law-abiding citizens of their Second Amendment rights to protect themselves and their property. So again, the governor in Florida, empower the people, because the storm wreaked havoc again. And listen, these people are law-abiding. They're going to exercise their Second Amendment right and to protect their property. So those are the things that we're talking about that's needed to be in place. Also, we have where someone asks, now, what do we do, right? This is G. Thomas. Thank you for your question. What can we do right now to stop this law?
Sue. Don't follow it, and sue. It's unconstitutional. Sometimes, at some point, we all gonna have to start making some sacrifices.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about what type of weapons I may or may not have. I might not have. No, we don't know. You'll find out if you try it. If you try the wrong thing, you'll find out. But I just don't believe. I think we have to start standing in our birthright as American citizens, or whether you were born or naturalized as a citizen, we have to start standing in that and just saying, listen, I am not going to comply with things that are illegal, and we will just see you in court. We'll figure
Yeah.
this out all the way up to the state Supreme Court or the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah. And so I got a great comment to answer that. Someone is asking, Mark is asking again, who or how will HB 5855 be enforced? So we do have, before we answer that, we do have.
Oh, I was about to, I was going to go in on that
Wait,
one.
hold it. Don't
But
lose
go
it,
ahead.
Devin. Don't lose
No,
it.
I won't. I won't.
Yeah, but we do have, if there's any consolation to Illinois citizens, the Illinois Sheriff Association has spoken out against this bill. And they support the rights provided under the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution and believe that this proposal is a clear infringement on the rights of citizens to legally possess these weapons. So again, that's good. That's a fight. That's a stand to know that the Illinois Sheriff Association is not in support of this bill. Also, you do have a lot of organizations, like in a lot of counties, that are not in support. So people are fighting and push back. You have gun ranges. There's a lot of people mounting up, fighting and pushing back against this bill. And also you have the Federal Firearms Licensing of Illinois, that they said this in an open letter in a statement. And I'm only reading the last part. It says, as stated above, we are not interested in negotiation. Again, this is the Federal Firearms Licensing of Illinois. And they said that we are not interested in negotiations. We are prepared with our legal team to vigorously challenge any of these gun laws, these gun control schemes in federal court in defense of our rights. So that is one part in terms of what we can do, what is going to be done in defending our rights. Because again, we believe they're going to pass it. And so there's just going to be a mountain hill of lawsuits coming against Illinois because this is a clear violation of our constitutional rights. Now, Devin, you can go ahead and answer this question.
How will it be enforced?
Yes.
Well, that's why you don't really see me doing a whole lot of back to blue stuff, because the blue is going to have to enforce it. That is their job.
Yes.
Their job is the state enforcement of laws. And so, for instance, the mayor's police force, the mayor of Chicago and her police force, they have to follow what she says to do. That is it. There is no discretion. Well, there can be, right? But because again, everybody takes an oath. They swear to defend, to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. So unless individual officers, when they pull you over and see that you have a quote unquote illegal weapon, they're going to turn the other way. Unless sheriffs are going to say, we are specifically not going. And I would like to see that. I fully agree that what they should do is to not follow that. Just tell us we're not enforcing it. Cook County Sheriff, we already know the Cook County Sheriff going to enforce everything. I'm sure he's going to go further than he has to go, right? But I want to see Chicago police members say, I'm not enforcing it. If I see it, I don't care if it's on my body cam, I'm just going to get fired from my job. I want to see some sheriffs say, this is not enforceable. They tried to do this in Virginia, and a bunch of sheriffs was like, we're not enforcing it. We are not going to enforce that.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, and Ashley was saying how this is wonderful. It is very wonderful to see the pushback. And again, we got Iroquois County, we got Tazewell County, and basically I was reading an article that said there's over 60% of Illinois counties that are considered sanctuary cities and that are pushing and fighting back against this. So that is wonderful news. That is good hope that people are not sitting back taking this. There is a fight concerning this bill. One more question. It says, can they hit our bank accounts?
I mean, from this legislation, I can't see how. I would hope that they don't. I mean, it's the government, right? So they can do things like, for instance, if they find out you're in violation of the law, they can sentence you, or not sentence you, but they've brought charges against you. You don't come to court. You're a quote unquote fugitive from justice. I guess they could start seizing bank accounts and assets to compel you to come to court or until they capture you. But that would be like, I mean, that would be so dramatic. I don't think they're going to just go, oh, Devin, you bought an AK style rifle and we found out about it and we're freezing your bank accounts.
Hmm.
I can't foresee that under this legislation, but I can foresee them finding out somehow that you have these weapons and getting a knock at the door. I can see that. I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So Mark is saying they tried it in Deerfield, but it was shot down by the Illinois Supreme Court. So to that point, Devin, and to your point to say you don't foresee it in this legislation, but however, knocking on our door about the gun. So that's actually in the bill where this firearm ban will require people to register their guns within 300 days, but not magazines. And if the bill passed effectively that date, the magazine capacity limit and would instantly make anyone possessing a magazine holding over 10 rounds of ammunition a criminal. And then they would have two of them. That's a class 2 felony or 3 to 7 years in prison. So the Glock 19 or the Springfield Hellcat or the Ruger LCP Max with their magazines will earn them the same penalty as possession of a kiddie porn or having sex with a minor over the age of 13. That's what's in this law, that if we have these type of guns, this is the kind of criminal offense.
So if you have a pistol and let's just say like a SIG, and it typically has, I think, a 17 round magazine, and you have one, now you're on par with John Wayne Gacy, who kidnapped and molested teenage boys. That's what we're saying. You are now John Wayne Gacy. That's what I want Illinoisans to think about when whoever votes for this, whoever sponsors it, and that stuff is readily available on ilga.gov, I believe it is, the Illinois General Assembly website. Whoever votes for this, sponsors it, talks about how wonderful it is. They are saying that you, as that's standard for like a SIG, is 17 rounds. So the typical purchaser of a firearm, of a pistol, legally, you done went through background checks, you done got your FOIA card, you probably done got concealed carry. And to get concealed carry, that means you know how to shoot the weapon. You have to demonstrate that you know how to use this in sticky situations. So you have gone through the training, yet you are still John Wayne Gacy, America's and he's from Illinois too, America's #1 pedophile. That's what we're saying.
Yes. And speaking of minors, according to this article too, that has synopsis of this bill, the minors, this bill would effectively ban anyone under 21 from touching a firearm unless they're hunting under the supervision of a forward holder or in the military. So all firearm owners' ID cards held by citizens under the age of 21 will be revoked.
And just so we're clear, that the 18 to 21 17 to 21 year olds in the military, so they can only touch military weapons in the function of their military duties. So an 18-year-old that becomes an expert marksman, because that is an actual ribbon or medal that you receive in the military, a person who has demonstrated that they are an expert marksman in the United States military, serving their country either here or overseas, they are now not able to even touch a firearm here in the state of Illinois if this passes or when it passes, unless it's in the official function of their duty, which is stupid. That doesn't even make any sense. They have all this training. the U.S. government trusts them to, because now we're the world police, right? I was in the military. Angela, you were in the military. We
Yes.
are the police officers of the world for some strange reason. You can do all of that, but you might accidentally mass shoot somebody here in Illinois.
Yeah,
Makes no sense.
this is crazy. So
But it was strange to me. I'm looking at the fear and the phobia of a citizen exercising their Second Amendment, but all this phobia disappeared when it's a government agency.
And keep in mind that we just got done with riots, literally about police brutality. But
yeah,
all of a sudden, we just feel if we could just give more to the government, because they're doing so great right now.
hmm
Democrats love them, Republicans love them, independents love them. Our roads are paved properly. We get proper garbage can pickup. There's no lead in the water. There's no. It's not like government does any type of corruption, right? They're solving crimes left and right. So now let's let them take away our weapons and we'll just lay back and let them defend us. I don't think so.
yeah.
I don't think so. Absolutely not.
So
Yeah.
this is an egregious bill, unconstitutional at best. And just to recap for our listeners, we're talking about HB 5855 with a very deceptive false title, Protect Illinois Communities Act, that will effectively ban the sale and possession of semi-automatics, centerfire, magazine-fed rifles, includes the AR and AK pattern rifles and pistols. It would also ban magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, ban 18 to 20-year-olds from obtaining a state firearm owner identification card, ban the .50 BMG rifles and ammunition, and it would expand the state's firearm restraining order by increasing it from 6 to 12 months, and severely restrict hunting for anyone under the 21. So there you go.
Wow.
This is insanity. This is insanity. So I just encourage all Illinoisans and even people that are not here in Illinois, please continue to be aware and informed of what your government is doing. Do not allow them to take away our constitutional rights. And how do we do that? We continue to let our voices be heard. We continue to be louder, and we are the bottom up. So we continue to be louder from the bottom up. We continue to push back and fight back against these things. And to be honest, I'll close with the word of God. We ought to obey God rather than man. So we're just not going to comply to these things that infringe upon our rights in this way, where we cannot protect ourselves and our family. Because again, as we've said in many different ways on this call, the criminals are not following HB 5855. They're not following this House bill. They're not sitting back saying, oh, wow, you guys, we got to go turn in our AK and AR and pistols. They're not doing that. So you're not going to leave us like sitting ducks while they pick us off, knowing that law-abiding citizens have to register their guns and turn them in and get rid of them and all this crap that you want to do. So
But
we're not doing it.
also, this the kind of stuff I think that could cause guns to end up on the streets.
More so.
You try to render legal people helpless that may have arms, the ones that you don't like, and they're not gonna just walk up and turn them in. Everybody ain't finna walk up and do certain things that they want them to do. And you supposed to be, oh, we don't want guns on the street. Is they motto, one of their things. Okay, if you don't want guns on the street, why would you hamper the citizens who take care of their guns and move their guns around, responsible for their guns? Why would you make them criminals and have to somewhat move their stuff underground because of you?
Yeah. So basically, they're going to make all of us criminals.
Right. Exactly.
We're all going to be criminals.
That's how you get more guns on the street.
They're going to make us all criminals. So again, Mark is saying sign the witness slips. Absolutely, we have, and And also, unfortunately, they have moved the hearing again. I don't know if it's been changed as of today, but the third hearing hasn't been scheduled yet. And from my understanding, witness slips have been turned in. They have been booting them out, basically. So please file witness slips again. That is an opportunity for our voices to be heard. Don't know how much it works or helps, but at least they will know we're not sitting back being quiet and just taking it. So I encourage people to please fill out a witness slip against House Bill 5855. And when the hearing is made available, the location, those that may know, if I find out, let's share that information. And those that can participate in the hearing and go down. And again, we need bodies, right? We need boots on the ground to push back against this and fight against this. So we're just going to stay prayerful. And we're going to protect our families, Illinois lawmakers. I'm sorry. Yeah, very vigilant. We're going to protect our family and property. And I encourage all of you to do so. We're going to hold fast to the Constitution of this country.
Let me just chime in real quick and say this. When somebody is being victimized, they don't have time to look at government regulation to figure out how to defend themselves.
No.
And so we live in a city where people are victimized every day. I think everybody on this chat right now lives in Chicago. And so if I have to ensure that me, my family, and my neighbors are defended against outside influences and criminals, I just don't have time to look at the regulation. So I got what I got. You know, grandfather me in or something. Maybe you can get everybody that from this day forward, you follow it. But the rest of us, I mean, this should have been thought about before this stuff was paid for. Nobody has money to go back and rebuy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So this insatiable appetite to disarm us, among many things that they're doing. We just have to continue to push back against these things. And we close with this: continue to fight for your Second Amendment and your First Amendment, because those two are definitely under attack like we've never seen before. So please continue to push back, fight back, be louder, be bolder, be more courageous, inform, empower your neighbor. We have to protect our fundamental rights in this country, and that's free speech and to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves.
Let me say one last thing. You do not have to tell anybody. You do not have to tell the government what you have in your house, in your car. You do not have. That is a courtesy. That is not. You are not on the hook for that. You just don't. If they want to see what you have, then they will get a search warrant and they will search that property. Outside of that, you don't have to offer up any information. You just don't. Do not comply with this.
Yes, absolutely. Sister Angela, you was about to say something before we close out?
I believe people just need to keep in mind that, tyrants disarm the people they intend to oppress.
Come on.
So we got to remember what this is really all about. And so something is coming down the pipeline. So we just got to be ready, and we got to be ready to stand our ground and fight back.
Yes, absolutely. We don't want to end up like California and Connecticut and all these other places, right? So Illinois, stay prayerful, fight back, be encouraged. There's a lot of things coming down the pipeline. As my husband just said, let's stay vigilant and stay on top of these things. And we will continue to keep you all informed. Julie was saying for part 2, yes, we're gonna watch this bill very closely. We're gonna watch the movement of what's happening with this bill, among many other bills that they're passing through the legislature. So again, I can't stress enough to stay prayerful concerning how Illinois is changing right before our eyes. I believe 2023 is going to be a year of persecution. And so we better get ready. We better mount up now to get ready to fight back. This is not a game. These are things not to take lightly. So be encouraged and just be ready and get ready. Love you all. And again, this was another Be Louder podcast with Latasha, Devin, my husband, Ronald, and Sister Angela, and all of you that tuned in to join this conversation. Greatly appreciate you guys. Be safe and take care.